I don't think very many people really understand that the rise of the modern police force is directly correlated to industrialization in the Northeast, that as factories were growing and employing lots of very poor people, there was social tension. And these poor workers wanted their rights, and at times they would strike to get them. And so the factory owners would hire some big burly guys to put down that unrest. And that's the origin in the Northeast of the police departments. In the South, it was related to controlling slaves and to patrolling the areas of freed blacks. So it's pretty racist in its foundation.
Bad boys, what you want, what you want, what you gonna do? Yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
I've been doing, films for a few years. I've really been into documentary, and seeing that there's a real issue of police brutality in the East Bay, I decided to take my camera out to the streets and really try to, document what was going on. Hanging around scenes, traffic stops is unsafe for you. I know who you are. I know what you do. And legally, you can do it. But if you get shot, don't even think about your family symbols.
I wouldn't even
because
consider
it would never happen.
Copwatch started in 1990 in response to a pattern of gentrification that was happening on Telegraph Avenue. Telegraph was a very vibrant cultural center. It had a lot of young people, a lot of people of different cultures, and we also had a lot of homeless people. And the police were being used to drive homeless people out of the area, and they were also being used to harass and arrest activists, young people of color who were congregating in the area. So we felt that we needed to step-by-step document what was happening so that we could effectively communicate and to begin to bring to the attention of the public and the city officials and the press.
Sean, I'm kind of curious, can these people get in any trouble by following police with cameras?
Very good, legitimate question. Actually, they're okay legally as long as they are on public property and as long as they don't interfere with any of the police activity they intend to tape. Live in the newsroom.
Initially, the police were hostile, I have to confess, and they would tell us to back up.
Ask me to step back, please.
They would tell us to get out of here.
There's no loitering at liquor stores.
They would threaten to arrest us.
Stay up on the sidewalk or you're going to be under arrest.
And it's been a process of acclimating them to our rights as guaranteed to us in the Constitution.
I just policy of the Berkeley Police Department to put the least amount of restriction possible on civilian observation of the police.
Okay.
Just want to let you know.
In America, as long as you are in public space and you are not interfering with an officer, you have the right to observe them. Don't let any officer tell you anything otherwise.
Hey, excuse me.
What's the problem?
Okay, don't photograph in that way.
Why?
Why? Because it's a crime scene and you're not entitled to. How's that?
I can't film it? Are you saying that I cannot film it? Or what are you saying? Just explain yourself.
I'm just saying, stay out of the area right now. You can go back on that side of the street. Wherever you want to shoot from there is fine. But
okay. The only complications come when you are in imminent danger, where a crime is being committed and the officers are trying to apprehend a person, and or you're on private property, in which case you don't have any right to be there anyways. When we're out cop watching on an organized shift, we go out in a couple cars or on foot. They both have their uses. And our intentions are to do a few different things. Number one, to document police in the course of their duty.
I said, what do I have a warrant for?
You have a warrant for a traffic violation.
For what? Man, I ain't got no traffic violation. Man, I ain't don't hurt.
But it's also really important that you go out there with the intention of really trying to make a situation better. If you make an officer angry, for instance, that officer will probably take it out on somebody else later, if not right then and there on you or that person that they're detaining. So it's very important to approach an officer
like it's a wild animal. Slowly, not from behind. You don't want to scare an officer because, unfortunately, they are dangerous and they are equipped with weapons that are lethal.
Sometimes we go out cop watching and we don't observe any violence, we don't observe any misconduct, and I have to remind people that that's a good thing. You know, we're not out there fishing for the big one. That's a good night when nothing bad happens. Cop watching has several functions. You know, if we're doing a walking shift, we'll spend our time passing out Know Your Rights cards and giving them information about their rights, letting people know that they have some rights. You've got the right to privacy. So just because an officer asks to see your ID, you have the right to say, "Officer, am I being detained?" If an officer can't articulate a reasonable suspicion to believe that you have been involved in a crime or are about to be involved in a crime, you should be free to leave. And we also recommend that, don't consent to a search. You never have to consent to a search unless you've actually been arrested.
Okay, we're going downtown now. Let me tell you two things. You stand up.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, we're gonna do this easy. We're gonna do this right.
No, you got two choices. You can either stand up.
You can't do nothing wrong.
I told you you're being detained. I don't have to answer your questions. You're being detained on
For
suspicion
what?
of drug activity.
You have no probable cause.
I absolutely have. You know what? You can tell it to the judge. Now you can stand up and turn around. Let me put the handcuffs on you. I'll beat the shit out of you right here.
Go ahead then.
You know, for a lot of people who really disagree with the way this country functions, it's a step out of it. I think it's a step of independence, and I think it's a step of saying that we're not going to tolerate this anymore. We don't want this kind of peace state. You know, we're tired, and we demand more. We demand better treatment.
Officer, aren't you involved in an investigation?
Yeah, I'm investigating you. You might be
On
terrorist.
suspicion of what charge?
You might be terrorist.
Hi, sir.